Another thing you have in Atlanta, they don't build too many stucco homes anymore. But way back when, especially when subdivisions like a St. Ives, a big golf course community that was built, in the 80s and 90s in Johns Creek, Georgia, they use synthetic stucco everywhere. They don't build even a lot of real stucco homes in Atlanta because stucco homes have a fairly bad reputation. Now, I think a stucco home is absolutely beautiful. Looks very French, very European, very elegant to me. But the problem is when they install synthetic stucco, and you can literally go up to the outside of a house and scratch on it with your fingernails very lightly. And if it sounds like you're scratching on the outside of a styrofoam cooler, then that's probably synthetic stucco. And I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it. I'm saying you should have it fully investigated before you buy it. I would not buy a synthetic stucco home without understanding all of the moisture readings behind the stucco all over the house so that I would understand whether or not I needed to replace it. Synthetic stucco was an exterior piece of plywood, call it, and I'm giving you a general explanation, which was covered in a piece of styrofoam, like a styrofoam cooler. It's more of an insulating board, but that was designed. And by the way, stucco homes that worked well, they were insulated great. Then on the outside of that insulating board, they would have a little mesh, like let's just call it a very wide mesh like you'd have on a screened-in porch. And then they would put what's called drive-it, or a Portland cement type of very thin layer of it on the outside of the house. And the problem was that they should have used backer rods like this black round rubber band that they should have put between the windows and the stucco, the frames of the windows and the stucco, so that you could have allowed for expansion and contraction, but they didn't do that. And so when the caulking would crack, you would get water in behind the insulating board, which was such a great insulator that there was no place for the water to go. If you have a brick home, water leaks between the window and the brick, no problem. The brick doesn't even touch the house. The brick is an inch and a half away from the house. It sits on its own ledge next to the house. And so the moisture can come out of there. And if you've ever noticed, you walk around the house and you see these little plastic tubes coming out through the brick, those are weep holes, and that allows moisture to get out. Well, you don't have that on a synthetic stucco home. So if I were going to buy a synthetic stucco home, I would have a full stucco inspection done, and I would have moisture readings done on every single side of the house, so I would know whether or not there was any moisture that I might very well have problems with.